Welcome to the Pardes channel. Today, we explain Genesis chapter 19 in a clear and simple way, step by step.
Okay, so here's our roadmap for today's explainer. We've got 6 parts to get through: the angels arrive in Sodom, the mob and the escape, destruction of the plain, aftermath in the cave, clarifications and key ideas, and finally, practical lessons and recap. Section 1, Angels Arrive in Sodom. Let's just set the stage with those first 3 verses. The text tells us that 2 angels arrive at the city of Sodom right at evening time. And Lot, well, he's sitting right there in the gateway of the city. As soon as he sees them, he respectfully gets up, bows down with his face to the ground, and absolutely insists that they come to his house. Now, initially, they actually decline. They say they'll just spend the night out in the square. But Lot insists so strongly that they finally agree. He brings them in, prepares a meal for them, even baking unleavened bread, and they eat. But then, things escalate. And I mean they escalate terrifyingly fast. Literally before Lot and his guests even go to bed, the men of the city surround the house. And the text is incredibly specific here. It says all the men from every part of the city of Sodom, both young and old, the whole city, they surround Lot's house and make this direct, horrifying demand. They call out to Lot, demanding he bring his guests outside so they can have sex with them. So this is the immediate, unavoidable threat sitting right at Lot's front door. In a truly desperate attempt to protect his guests, Lot actually steps outside and firmly shuts the door behind him to act as a shield for the angels. He pleads with the mob, begging them not to do this wicked thing. But then, he makes a shocking counteroffer. He offers his 2 virgin daughters to the mob instead, just pleading that they spare the men who are under the protection of his roof. And the mob, they completely reject this. Instead, they turn all their resentment right onto Lot. They tell him to get out of the way, complaining that he came there as an alien and now he wants to play the judge. The danger really peaks here. They threaten to treat Lot even worse than his guests, and they physically violently push forward to break down the door. Just as that door is about to give way, the angels intervene, and they move fast. They physically reach out their hands, yank Lot back inside, and shut the door to safety. But they don't just stop there. They completely neutralize the threat outside by striking the men at the door, again, young and old, with sudden blindness. The text actually notes that the mob is struck so completely blind that they exhaust themselves just trying to find the entrance to the house. So, with the immediate danger paused, the angels reveal their true mission. They look at Lot and ask if he has anyone else in the city, sons-in-law, sons, daughters, and tell him to get them out right now. Why? Because as the angels flatly state, the outcry to the Lord against the people of Sodom is so great that he has sent them to destroy the place. Hearing this, Lot rushes out to warn his future sons-in-law. He tells them to hurry because the Lord is about to destroy the city, but tragically, his sons-in-law think he's just joking. They don't take him seriously at all. Section 2, the mob and the escape. We are fleeing the city. As dawn actually breaks, the tension is it's off the charts. The angels are urging Lot to hurry up, telling him to take his wife and his 2 daughters or they're going to be swept away in the city's punishment. But Lot hesitates. He lingers. And because he lingers, we see this incredible physical act of mercy from the Lord. The angels literally grasp Lot's hand, the hand of his wife, and the hands of his 2 daughters, and they physically lead them safely outside the city limits. Okay, once they are outside the city, one of the angels gives these absolute, crystal clear instructions for their survival. Let's break it down step by step. Step 1, flee for your lives. Step 2, don't look back. Step 3, don't stop anywhere in the plain. And step 4, flee to the mountains or you will be swept away. It's a highly urgent 4-part command with absolutely zero room for negotiation if they want to survive this. However, Lot is terrified of the mountains. He pleads with the angels, basically saying, I can't flee up there. The disaster is going to overtake me and I'll die. Instead, he points to a small town nearby and begs to run there, really emphasizing to the angel just how small it is. And the angel mercifully grants this highly specific request. He agrees not to overthrow that particular town, but he urges Lot to flee quickly because the destruction literally cannot start until he arrives there safely. Now, because Lot kept emphasizing how small it was, the town gets named Zoar, which is a Hebrew word that literally means small. Section 3, Destruction of the Plain. Judgment falls. Just as the sun is rising over the land and Lot safely reaches Zoar, the catastrophic climax hits. The Lord rains down burning sulfur on Sodom and Gomorrah. And the text makes sure to emphasize this comes directly from the Lord out of the heavens. We are talking total, absolute destruction here. The text specifically notes that he overthrew the cities, the entire plain, all the inhabitants living in those cities, and even the vegetation in the ground. Exactly as the angels had warned, the destruction is 100% complete. And then, right in the middle of this, we read a very brief but incredibly tragic event. Despite the strict, clear instructions given by the angels to flee and not look back, Lot's wife looks back. And the direct, immediate consequence of violating that second step of the angel's instructions is exactly what the text says. She becomes a pillar of salt. Meanwhile, early the very next morning, let's shift our perspective over to Abraham. He gets up and returns to the exact place where he had stood before the Lord previously. He looks down towards Sodom and Gomorrah and across the entire plain. And what does he see? He sees dense smoke rising from the land, billowing up like smoke from a giant furnace. The text gives us an absolutely essential clarification right here. When God destroyed the cities of the plain, he remembered Abraham. And it was because of that he brought Lot safely out of the catastrophe. So Lot's salvation was directly tied to Abraham's standing with God. Section 4, Aftermath in the Cave. Desperate Measures.
Now, the narrative takes a darker, more disturbing turn. Lot becomes afraid to stay in the town of Zoar, the very town he begged to flee to. So he and his 2 daughters move up into the mountains and settle in a cave. The older daughter looks at the younger and says that their father is old and there are no men around to give them children. They are acting on this intense fear that their family line is about to end completely, thinking they might be the last people left. So they devise a specific, repetitive plan. On the first night, they get their father to drink wine, and the older daughter lies with him. The text explicitly notes he is unaware. Then, the very next day, they repeat the exact same plan with wine, and the younger daughter lies with him once again being totally unaware.
As a direct result of this, both daughters become pregnant by their father. The older daughter has a son, and she names him Moab. Now, in Hebrew, the name Moab sounds exactly like the phrase, from father. The text is establishing right here, as a matter of historical record, that he is the father of the Moabites of today. Similarly, the younger daughter also has a son, and she names him Ben-Ami. This is a Hebrew name that translates directly to son of my people. The text notes that he is the father of the Ammonites of today. And with that birth, the historical, step-by-step narrative of chapter 19 officially concludes.
Section 5. Clarifications and Key Ideas. Key Takeaways.
All right, so distilling all these raw events down, what are the key ideas we should take away from this? Well, first, God's mercy often involves direct intervention. We saw this physically when the angels grabbed Lot and his family by the hands to literally pull them away from danger. Second, instructions for survival are strict. They weren't mere suggestions, they were absolute literal rules. Third, actions have immediate consequences. The pillar of salt is the ultimate tragic example of the consequence for looking back. And finally, fear can lead to desperate, extreme actions. We saw that so clearly with Lot and his daughters retreating to the cave and taking matters completely into their own hands. Section 6. Practical Lessons and Recap. Application. So, how do we apply these historical realities to our own lives? First, flee toxic environments with absolute urgency. Lingering in bad situations, just as Lot lingered in Sodom, is incredibly dangerous. Second, do not hesitate when you are warned of danger. Obey instructions strictly and quickly. Third, do not look back at what you must leave behind. Dwelling on a destructive past is only going to stop your forward momentum. And fourth, just as God remembered Abraham and saved Lot because of it, your own righteous choices and good standing can cast a protective shadow over the people you love. To really cement this in our minds, let's look at a highly structured recap of the geographical and chronological journey we've just taken. It's like a map of the chapter. We started at the Sodom gate, where Lot welcomed the angels. Then we moved to Lot's house, where the mob attacked and the angels struck them with blindness. Next, we went out to the plain, where Sodom was totally destroyed and Lot's wife tragically turned to salt. And finally, the story concluded up in the mountain cave, where the daughters took extreme measures to preserve their family line. So knowing the incredible weight of Lot's decisions throughout this chapter, and the silent but immensely powerful influence of Abraham, how will the choices we make today shape the legacy of our future generations? Thank you for learning with us. If this helped you understand the chapter better, like, subscribe, and join us for the next chapter.